Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. What's going on, freaks? Did you drive by there, Plato? Or are these just pictures you found? It was just the jury selection. Sounds like it's already done. I guess these are some pictures right here. I don't know if these are ones Plato took or... Oh, she took them. Let's see. So there you go. Just kind of, it's not the same courthouse that the trial's in. This is the county that all of them, it's Allen County, and that's where they're just selecting the jury from. I mean, there isn't really, like, you're excited to hear about jury selection? I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't have, but I have a couple articles here that might go over some of those. So I guess they've already got the 12 main jurors, and they've still got 2 more to go on the alternates, which means it's done, basically. I mean, they're just looking for 2 alternates. Yeah, well, at 2 o'clock, I mean, yeah, there wasn't a lot of people that went to it. Didn't look like it was very hard to get in there. And thanks, Yorkshire Tea, up there. Yeah, so it says 12 jurors and 2 alternates are chosen, leaving 2 more. I should probably put my head over on this side because that's the way my head turns. 12 jurors and 2 alternates are chosen, leaving 2 more alternate jurors to pick Tuesday morning when Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen's trial resumes in Allen County. When jury selection resumes, 50 fresh potential jurors from Allen County will be questioned, and 2 will be selected to round out the panel. But as the day ended late Monday afternoon, Special Judge Frances Gull said the court, prosecutors, and Allen's defense team will address an issue with one of the selected jurors. She did not describe what that issue was. Prosecutors charged Allen with 2 counts of murder. I think both the defense and prosecution get one, like they can, well, not just one, but a certain number of people they can just strike for any reason they want. Doesn't have to be a good reason. I can't remember exactly how many of those you get, but so it looks like there's an issue. Prosecutors charge Allen with 2 counts of murder while kidnapping, 2 counts of murder in 2022. They say Allen forced Delphi teenagers Libby German and Abby Williams off the trail east of Delphi. He led them to the north bank of the Deer Creek, where prosecutors say he killed the girls. Many opening statements to the potential jurors gave glimpses into the prosecution's case, as well as insight into Allen's possible defense. Let's see what that says. Abby and Libby decided to go to the trails, especially the Monon High Bridge, Carroll County Prosecutor Nick McClellan said in his mini opening statement, describing the abandoned railroad bridge 60 feet above Deer Creek as an adventure or a daring thing to walk across. On February 13, 2017, the girls were alone, but in reality, Allen was there, McClellan said, following the girls onto the railroad ties, forcing them to the far side of the bridge. So that's something I mentioned in my videos. I think that the girls were on the bridge about halfway across, and that's when Richard Allen started walking towards them, and that sort of forced them off the far side. Like they were like, oh wow, they didn't want to pass him. His intent was to have his way with them, McClellan said, saying Allen forced the girls down the hill, then forded the creek. I think that they just totally botched this right here. This should say, then forced them, or something like that. Then forded the creek to the north side, I guess, where he killed them. You don't have to take my word for any of this because you're going to hear statements from Richard Allen. He said, you're going to hear Allen himself in his own words. Wow. I mean, so that means Richard Allen describes all of this in probably some of his confessions. Allen supposedly told his wife, prison inmates and guards and therapists where he's been housed about killing the girls and why McClellan said. Man, this is such a poorly written document, article. It's crazy. Andrew Baldwin, one of Allen's defense attorneys, put Allen's statement in a different light in his own statements. So let's see. This is the defense side right here. Richard Allen confessed to taking a gun and shooting the girls in the back. Baldwin said. Richard Allen confessed to... these are all the confessions that they had him make after the fact so that they could say, look at all these false confessions. So that's why the defense wanted him to do that. Now they're throwing him in there. Problem is, Baldwin said that the evidence contradicts Allen's statements. The girls were killed by someone who slashed their throats. They were not assaulted and they were not buried, Baldwin told prospective jurors. Richard Allen confessed to the crime he did not commit, Baldwin said. Nothing that Allen's statements came after languishing in solitary confinement for more than 4 months at a maximum security state prison. Right, but what did his first confession say? After Allen confessed and then his wife went and told his attorney, that's when everything started going downhill for him. All right, and by the way, if you guys can help support this channel, I would appreciate it. We talked about that last night. We're doing these shows on a nightly basis, so if you have the ability to, I would appreciate it. Put a comment in a super chat, something like that. And welcome, Virgo. I seem like it's so bright on my face. Richard Allen confessed to the crime he did not commit. Yeah, I mean, we knew that was what their story is going to be. So Richard Allen confessed to his wife calls the attorney, then the attorney goes down there, and after Richard Allen was absolutely having a normal time while he was in the prison, exercising, etc., he became religious, so he felt like he wanted to confess. But then his attorneys go, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Listen, you got to start eating paper and, doing crazy things now. Start drooling. I mean, it was amazing, like the timing of how he just all of a sudden became crazy. And then, yes, I think some of the confessions he made later were at the direction of the defense team. You need to start telling people all these different things that didn't happen, so that later on we can use them as, see, he was just false confessions. It's garbage, you guys. Absolute garbage. Yeah. Baldwin also cast shadows on the police investigation. There was infighting between FBI and local police, he said, noting that the local police told the FBI to go away. Prospective jurors, attorneys, and court staff went all day with only a brief break shortly after 1 p.m. 6 jurors were picked in the first round, 4 in the second, 1 in the third round, and 2 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth. The dry and repetitive questions of juror selection sometimes were lightened by pithy responses. Do you want to be a juror in this case? McLuhan asked one man in the fifth group of potential jurors. For this pay? Nah. The man replied, evoking a chuckle from those in the courtroom, even from Gull. He was chosen anyways. One juror claimed to be a psychic. Oh yeah, those guys are great. Who can feel other people's emotions, an empath, if you will. He didn't make the panel. Wow, what a shock. If it was up to some of these YouTubers out there, that'd be one of the first people that they impaneled. Jurors will report back to Allen County Courthouse on Thursday, where they will be sworn in. Then they will be driven to a hotel somewhere in Carroll County area, where they will be sequestered until the end of trial, which is scheduled through November 15th. Opening statements and evidence is expected to begin Friday morning in Delphi, the Carroll County Courthouse. Man, I just wish I could get, I just want the opening statement, because that really tells you everything you need to know. Hey, thank you, Amber Maiden. And I mean from the prosecution side. See, I think it's hilarious when, here's the truth of the way stuff really is. When you have a defense attorney for homicide, the likelihood of them putting out inaccurate and false information is like 100 times more likely than the prosecution. And that's just the truth, okay? Because if you know somebody, let's say you've got a client and you know they're guilty, and it's just obvious they're guilty, but you still try to put on all this whole defense and saying all these different things. Almost everything you're saying is bogus at that point, right? But it's weird how, like, on Twitter and all these places, everybody's like, oh, Gray, you just believe the prosecutor. Yeah, I do tend to, I believe in the ethics of the justice system. Unfortunately, there are cases out there that, you see weird stuff going on. But most of the time, it's right, It's just horrible when it's not right. And people just use those to kind of indict the entire law enforcement community. And thanks, Amber Maiden and Ozzy Trisha. So it says, jurors will report back to the Allen County Courthouse on Thursday, where they will be sworn in. Then they'll be driven to a hotel somewhere in Carroll County area, where they will be sequestered until the end of trial, which is scheduled through November 15th. Opening statements and evidence. I can't imagine it going that long without the third-party crap that the defense was trying to put in there. Opening statements and evidence is expected to begin Friday morning in Delphi, the Carroll County Courthouse. Hey, look at that. Ozzy Trisha gifted a membership. And Gene Fish got another one. Alright, so I got that one. Then, let's see. No phones, no laptops, no cameras in Delphi murder trial of Richard Allen. Here's how we'll report. Starting this week, the man accused of the 2017 killing of Delphi teenagers, this is the Indy Star, Abby Williams and Libby German, will stand trial. If you've read Indy Star or our sister USA Today network, Indiana newspapers, for any amount of time, you'll likely be familiar with the case against Richard Allen, the man arrested in 2022 on suspicion of murders that rocked this small Indiana town. You probably know the girls disappeared the day before Valentine's Day, and it took more than 5 years for authorities to make an arrest. You're probably familiar with the twists since Allen's arrest, such as defense assertions of a link to Odinism to the defendant's alleged prison confessions. Now, they're not alleged prison confessions. He did confess in prison, and his attorneys knew that he did that. You might feel vested in knowing that evidence authorities have compiled to explain why they think Abby 13 and Libby 14 were forced off a trail and killed by a fellow Delphi resident. And now, barring a last-second delay, 12-member jury will hear the case against Allen and defense over the 6 weeks in one of the most high-profile murder trials in Indiana history. Journalists from Indy Star and the Lafayette Journal-Courier will be there every step of the way to keep you informed. Our presence in the courthouse will be critical. While Allen has the constitutional right to a public trial, Special Judge Frances Gull has given orders that will limit public access to only those who are actually in the courtrooms. In Fort Wayne, the jury selection and Delphi for the trial. No video or audio recording is allowed. I mean, aren't they going to do one recording anyways just for themselves? I mean, Gull has unenviable task of managing a charged environment that will maintain the integrity of the trial along with the safety of the accused and friends and family of the victims. But to do that, the judge has clamped down on electronic communication in and out of the courtroom, banning cell phones, smartwatches, laptops, audio recorders, TV cameras, and digital cameras. Media seating has also been greatly restricted, and at Gull's direction, members of the Indiana National Press Corps have developed a pool approach to ensure all professional news outlets have access to what happens in court each day to share with their audiences. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with some, get reporters that can come on, and I think Susan Hendricks might be able to come on here, so that'll be good. She's friends with Becky and all them, so ensuring public access to the trial through trustworthy reporting from the courtroom has not been given for the case, but we consider it vital to have put significant effort towards its preservation. Without digital tools to aid our reporting in the courtroom, reporters will rely on handwritten notes that will be transferred outside of the court and then form the basis of our daily reporting. A team of staffers, you know what I would do if I was a news outlet? I would get a court reporter, get them credentials, have them sit in there with somebody who knows shorthand, and get in there, and then they take notes for the entire day and get every single thing accurately and not based on some sort of memory, or writing it down and missing something else that was said. That's what I would do. I'd give them just a huge. I don't get why the judge is so. I understand it's a sensitive case because there's a 13 and a 14-year-old girl that were killed, but it's just, you got to be a little bit more open. She should have had another room where there was a television, like a screen that shows the trial to other people, and maybe they can talk more in there, whatever it would be. Maybe that have the same rules, but you need more people to be able to see it. I don't know. It just kind of sucks. Here's what you can expect from Indy Star. Each weekend, Journal and Courier reporter Ron Wilkins will report from the court's morning session with a daily update posted at jconline.com and Indy Star. By early afternoon, Indy Star reporters Sarah Nelson and Jordan Smith will cover the afternoon and Saturday sessions with new reporting coming each weekday evening and Saturday afternoon. A recap of each full day at trial will appear in the next available print edition in both Indianapolis and Lafayette. A team of editors and reporters in both newsrooms will support our reporters in Delphi, ensuring that you always have the latest from the trial. Covering this trial is a large undertaking, especially considering that it is scheduled to continue through November 5th. I don't see how it's going to last that long. It was supposed to be originally 3 weeks, and that was with all the Odinist stuff. But we're committed to telling Indiana stories and keeping you informed. All right. So that's cool. At least that sounds like there'll be some good places to get like a update. Nearly 8 years after the infamous murders of teens Liberty German and Abigail Williams shook the small town of Delphi, Indiana, a suspect is finally preparing to face trial. Richard Allen, 52, also of Delphi, was initially arrested in relation to the crime in it was October of 2022, but his day in court has faced multiple setbacks and rescheduling. Known as the Delphi murders, the death of German and Williams have continued to rock their town of 3,000 in the years since the news made headlines. Public interest in the Delphi case has persisted thanks not only to the evidence captured on one of the victim's phones right before her death, but also to stranger than fiction twists and turns. Yeah, the whole Odinist bullshit crap that was put out there. And I actually remember this press conference here. You know, there's these wackos out there. See, when in the press conference, when Kim Riley said the witness, and it was in some article, or he said it, that the person they saw definitely didn't have blue eyes. Okay? That's because blue eyes are blue eyes, man. You can see them, right? So they weren't blue. But when that was said, you know what I thought? I thought, oh, they must be like hazel. And they must be hazel looking because she just knew it wasn't blue. Now, if they were black eye, or, you know, really dark brown, you'd say that too, right? But you say, well, I just know they weren't blue. So that means that they were light and they were hazel. And Richard Allen has those type of eyes. But you got weirdos on Twitter that keep pointed out like, oh, look, she said blue. Look at his eyes. I mean, it's just weird. I don't know where these people come from, but you're right when they came out, I said, oh, they must be hazel because if they were dark, they would have said that. They just know that they weren't blue, so that means that they were lighter. That's pretty obvious stuff. Let's see. The pair were supposed to meet with family members to be picked up. It's weird how people write stuff like USA Today. They're already inaccurate in this one. Look at this. The pair was supposed to meet the family to be picked up later that afternoon, but never showed. Well, it wasn't members. It was just Derek, German, 1. After briefly searching for the girls, if their family reported they're missing, them missing at 5:30. A search ensued until roughly midnight, at which time authorities paused the mission until the morning. The bodies of German and Williams were discovered the next day, February 14th, on the North Bank. What happened after the murders? Police relied heavily on what German had captured on her phone when looking for suspects in the murders. On February 15th, investigators released a grainy photo of a man walking Monon High Bridge, empty tracks, taken from German's phone before her death. The image appeared to show a white man with shaggy, brownish hair and a dark blue coat and blue jeans. His hands were in his pockets, and he was looking down at the ground. On February 22nd, law enforcement released audio also taken from German's phone, which with a muffled man's voice can be heard saying, "Down the hill." And later they released "Guys." They have also since released an additional image and a short clip of a man walking to the public. Man walking to the public. What? What does that mean? It's just weird writing all over the place. The man caught in these clips was named a prime suspect in the murders. Though police said it was possible more than one person was involved, authorities set up a tip line and advertised a reward. Yeah, so anyways, I don't really want to keep going through all this stuff. But like I said earlier, guys, if you can help support the channel, that'd be great. We try to reach our goals on a nightly basis. Kind of hit another one of those lulls again. All right, so I'll just make sure we put this in the right spot. Yeah, so we got to go over the, why do you have a frown on your face, Daphne? Nobody understands it. Closing chat while I work. Yeah. All right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to go through, like I said last night, the basically it's the same stuff that's in the probable cause, but it was another document that had more information in it. And you'll be able to see it all for yourself before the trial starts, because this is exactly the same stuff they'll be talking about. But it's scary to start reading because that's when it gets really slow in here. So, man. All right, this is the motion for leave of court to subpoena third-party records. So this is the actual case. Now, you're not going to have other channels won't talk about it. They bring up the other, the side crap, like, oh, look what it said on the Odin document, the motion in support of the Franks memorandum. It was a Franks memorandum, basically. So it was a motion in support of the Franks hearing. All right, you guys want to do this? Because this will get you nice and fresh in your mind right now, right before the trial starts. All right. Anyways, so this one says, on February 14, 2017, Victim 1 and Victim 2 were found deceased in the woods approximately 0.2 miles northeast of the Monon High Bridge. And if you go here and you go right to where the start of the bridge is, and you measure it from right there to right here, it's 0.19. So there you go, 0.20, all right? Northeast of the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County. Their bodies were located on the north side of the Deer Creek. All right, and this is Deer Creek. This is the north side. They were found right there. At the time, the Monon High Bridge Trail was approximately 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. So I guess we could go back to, if you go all the way over to here, and we'll just measure the length of that just to get everything in here. I'm just kind of doing it roughly here. And that says 0.68. So obviously they count this part over here also as part of the gravel trail. You can actually see it there. All right, but it ends after going a mile. It ends right over here at the bridge. Approximately 0.7 miles northwest of the trail from the northwestern edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, and we just said 0.69 because that's what I just measured. It's they have 0.7. Okay, it's the same. And then it's okay, so 0.7 miles northwest of the trail from the northwest edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25. Approximately 350 feet west of the Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass, and that's called Old State Road 25. And what they're saying there is there's this bridge right here, and then I think if you go, I don't know if it starts where 350 feet it starts, but let me get the feet here. Yeah, so I guess right there, basically, right on the other side of the bridge, 350 feet more, there's another bridge that goes over Old State Road 25, which is this one right here. And it says approximately 350 feet west of the Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25, also known as County Road 300. The trail terminates just west of the former railroad overpass. I see. Yeah, so it is that other area that I was just talking about that gets you the mile. The majority of the trail is a wooded area with a steep embankment on the south side of the trail. The entirety of the trail and the location of the girls' bodies were and are located in Carroll County, Indiana. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and review of video at the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators believe Abby and Libby were dropped off from the Mears farm at 1:49 p.m. on February 13, 2017 by Kelsey German, Libby's older sister. And the Mears property is right there. There's a parking area right in this spot, and they were dropped off right here at 1:49. And it's really probably like 1:48 because her car passes this Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:49. So it's like, right before that. We don't know the exact time. It could have been 1:49, and then her car is 1:49:40 driving by Hoosier Harvest Store, but they still say 1:49. So maybe it is exactly 1:49. It would actually make more sense. So the Mears farm is located on the north side of County Road 300 near an entrance to the trails. A video from hey, thanks, Ozzy Tricia. Gifted a membership to Courtney D. A video from victim 2. So that's Libby. It's actually victim 1 is Abby, victim 2 is Libby. So Libby's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., victim 1 and victim 2 encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. The male ordered the girls and said, guys, but then later said down the hill. So it's kind of dumb that they wrote it like guys, comma, down the hill. It was actually guys, and then, there's a pause in there for a few seconds, many seconds probably, and then down the hill was said. No witness saw them after this time. No outgoing communications were found on Libby's phone after this time. Their bodies were discovered on February 14, 2017. The video recovered from victim 2's phone shows victim 1 walked southeast on the Monon High Bridge while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. As the male subject approaches Abby and Libby, one of the victims mentions gun. And see, that's something we knew about a long time ago. He's got a gun, he's got a gun. Gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls, guys, down the hill. The girls then begin to proceed down the hill, and the video ends. A still photograph taken from the video and the guys down the hill audio was subsequently released to the public to assist investigators in identifying the male. Thanks, Michelle H. Now, Abby and Libby's death were ruled a homicide. Clothes were found in Deer Creek belonging to victim 1 and victim 2. And we've seen those pictures before. Those have been released out there. There were also a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from Libby's body, between Abby and Libby's bodies. The round was unspent and had extraction marks on it. So they actually found the bullet right back, all the way back then, you guys. It's not like something that was planted years later. It was an actual bullet that they found at the time. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, RV, BW, and AS. They advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail towards Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from the Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. AS described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing like blue jeans and like a really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. RV advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall, with a bigger build. She said he was no bigger than 5'10". RV advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. Alright, so, those are all people, they all saw the same person, but they describe him, one said light blue jeans, light blue jacket, the other one said all black. And when you look at a picture of, and thanks Mark, Gloria, and Michelle. Yeah. So you look at that, if in the shade of the trees, you might think, oh, he's all dark, because his upper part is pretty dark. That's a really dark blue. And he's got his jeans there, and he's got his hands in his pocket. Isn't that amazing? BW showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. And we've shown those photographs too. Not the one at the bridge, we don't have that. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43. We don't have that one. And another taken at 1:26. We do have that one. Of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. BW advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started to walk back towards the Freedom Bridge. So that means these three girls that were walking around, there's actually a fourth girl. Okay, let me, maybe I can find, there's a bigger one in here, I think. No, that wasn't it. I'm just trying, there's another version of this. Not sure if it's in here. I don't think that's the one. They all look the same, that dark writing like that. I think this might be, have more. No, that's similar. I'm just looking through this really quick. Okay, so what we should probably do is read this one next. Because that one's, it's similar, but there's different information in it. Alright, so I got that one. We'll go over those, and then we'll discuss the things that they've got in the Franks, the memorandum in support of the Franks hearing that are contradictory that the defense will be using. And we'll see what that means. Alright. But hey guys, I need your guys' support on a nightly basis on this channel, so if you have the ability to help support it, that would be great. We're currently at about 10% of a nightly goal, or maybe 15 actually. But all right, so it says she advised the jacket was a duck canvas. Where were we at here? All right, we're right there. BW showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. The photograph included photos of the Mononai Bridge taken at 12:43 and another one taken at 1:26 on the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. BW advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back toward Freedom Bridge. She advised that was when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from victim 2's video. And so, you know, when you look at the map here, those girls were here at 12:43, but they're just hanging out, and then at 1:26 they have a verified photograph here, and they said on their way out after that's when they ran into an individual. Okay, so keep that in mind. They're walking this direction. All right. BW described the man she encountered. BW advised after she took the photo at the bench, they started walking back towards the Freedom Bridge. She advised that when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from Libby's video, BW described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket, which is exactly what we just saw. She advised that the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately her head came up to approximately his shoulder. She advised RV said hi to the man and that he said nothing back. She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. She stated he had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after encountering the male, they continued their walk across the Freedom Bridge and told, and then it says, and the old railroad bridge over Old State Road 25. So after they passed him right here, they went over the Freedom Bridge, which is right there, and then they went over the bridge, and then they said they went over this bridge here, Old State Road 25. Okay, that's what they said. Welcome, Tamara, and not today, but tomorrow. Haven't seen you in a long time. And Rebecca Medley, welcome. Or thank you for gifting, I mean, to KR. Alright, is this all making sense to you guys? It's always interesting when you see people show up and they go, oh yeah, and they go do something else. It's like, this is the case right here. This is where it all is. I mean, they have a lot of other stuff too, but this is kind of like the foundation part where it's literally this is where everything happened, right? She advised her head came up to approximately, we already read that. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after encountering the male, they continued their walk across the Freedom Bridge and the old railroad bridge over Old State Road 25. Wow, look at that. Tamara gifted 5 memberships. Let's see, we got Glamis Girl, who used to be a member, Proxy Loxy, Mel B, Marin, Jesus. Man, Jesus. Lauren Malloy and Josie Nosey. Yeah. Thank you. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be white male. Then they crossed both those bridges on the way out. Investigators spoke with Betsy Blair. She advised she was on the trails on February 13, 2017. Just a second, I gotta get some water. Man, it's brutal. Investigators spoke with Betsy Blair, advised she was on the trails on February 13, 2017. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Betsy Blair's vehicle traveling eastbound at 146. Hey, thanks so much, Aaron Elliott. Very kind, very kind. All right, so Betsy Blair, she's coming into the area at 146. So remember, the girls were right here. The three girls were at 126 and they headed out. And they passed somebody here. I'm going to say like 135. Then 146, Betsy Blair, which is right here in the pin, she drives by the Hoosier Harvest Store, and we've gone out there. There's a camera on this building that films the road. And it shows Betsy Blair's car drive by, and then she parks her car, you know, probably in the 146 minute somewhere. You know, how many seconds, we don't know. And then gets out and starts walking on the trail. So, 1:46 p.m. towards the entrance across the Mears farm. Betsy advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over Old State Road 25. And the thing is that's because there was 4, you know, but only 3 of them were adults. I mean, not adults even. They were just like teenagers, but the other one was like 8 or 9 years old. And, you know, he probably didn't see her when he said he saw 3 girls, but those girls, they saw him. Right? So she saw 4 girls, Betsy Blair, when she was driving in at 146. Right here. She saw the 4 girls crossing here. The 3 girls that are the witnesses, they actually had a 4th with them. So it verifies that that was the group. But when they were leaving, they passed him. So he's walking this way. And then you know, right in this area, and they probably hung out over here for a while too, because they weren't really in a hurry to be anywhere. And then when Betsy Blair came in at 146 here, that means she probably passed over here at like 143, 144-ish. So that's when the girls would have been there, and then she drives up like that and around and underneath, passes the abandoned CPS building, drives around like this, and then passes in front of the Hoosier Harvest Store at 146, and then parks. And then she says, Betsy advised there was no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from victim 2's video. So she says, oh yeah, the guy that I saw matches the guy in the video. I guess at some other point she does say that. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing a blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised she was standing on the first, that he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. You know, so she walks up. You know, she gets out of her car and walks down the trail right here. And probably right around like 153, she stops right here. See how the wood kind of stops, and then it's if I turn off the roads, it looks more normal. I mean, this was just gravel back then. And you can see at this point, you can see the edge of the bridge. So she's got to right here, and the bridge guy was standing right here on platform 1 when Betsy Blair got there. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. So I think she just walked all the way to the Freedom Bridge and then walked back to her car. She advised approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from the Mears farm, she passed two girls. I mean, how creepy would that be to be something that you would remember? She passed two girls walking towards the Monon High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were Abby and Libby. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store shows at 1:49 p.m. a white car matching Kelsey German's vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears farm. Betsy advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. So you gotta look at it like this. Betsy Blair was right here. She turns around, starts walking, and then Abby and Libby were dropped off even before she got here. So she's walking here, but Abby and Libby are not there to exercise. They were just there to have fun and take pictures and hang out. So they get here 1:49 and they walk slower and they come around. Then Betsy Blair passes them right in this area, halfway between, and that would have been at like 1:56 because she got here at 1:53 heading out this way. Then the girls would get to the start of the bridge at 2 o'clock. But after the girls passed Betsy Blair right here, the only person left in the area is the bridge guy at this point, because Richard Allen's name hasn't been introduced yet. So they would have ran into the person, necessarily would have ran into the person at the bridge. And law enforcement knew all of this stuff for years. They just didn't know who the driver of the vehicle that was parked at the abandoned CPS building was, because they believed that that vehicle was the vehicle driven by the perpetrator. All right, so let's see. Her vehicle is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store video 2:14. So Betsy Blair, when she gets back to her car, I believe she walked all the way over here to the Freedom Bridge, turned around, came back, and then got to her car, got into it, and then passes this building at 2:14. Her vehicle is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store 2:14 leaving westbound from the trails. Betsy advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Service building. She said it was not odd for a vehicle to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked, backed in near the building. Investigators received a tip from Terry Wilson in which he stated he was on his way to Delphi on State Road 25 at around 2:10 p.m. on February 13, 2017. He observed a purple PT Cruiser or small SUV type vehicle parked on the south side of the old CPS building. See, he said, or a small, it wasn't like he goes, well, it's definitely a purple PT Cruiser. He just said, yeah, it was a PT Cruiser or, small SUV type vehicle. Definitely dark, I would think, obviously. He stated it appeared as though it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Betsy and Terry both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally matched as to the area the vehicle was parked. And again, law enforcement knew way before that there was a vehicle parked there. 2019 they knew that, and they just wanted to know who the driver was. And then another person named Wesley McWhirter advised he remembered seeing a smaller, dark-colored car parked at the old CPS building. He described it as possibly being a smart car. See, again, possibly being a smart car. See, everyone on the other side makes it sound like that the person definitely said it was a purple PT Cruiser and it was definitely a smart car. He didn't say that. He said it possibly, had that shape in his mind. We showed it last night how there is a similarity. They have the slanted back. They don't have, it's not like a sedan type look. McWhirter's vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 p.m. on the Hoosier Harvest Store video. So he drove by, and it proves that he drove by there. Investigators spoke with Sarah Carbaugh, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from the Monon High Bridge. Yeah. And so, I'll just read the rest of it. Sarah advised that the male subject was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest store that Sarah Carbaugh was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 through interviews, electronic data, photographs. Okay, so her part is like, here's the cemetery over here. The crime scene's right there. I think they believe that the suspect walked up through the cemetery and came down, and he was on the north side, so he was on this side. And then Sarah Carbaugh, whose vehicle is seen up here at 3:57, driving this direction past that same camera, driving this way, she passes him. Now, we don't know where she passed him. Nobody's said that. Was it over here? Was it over there, there? I mean, anywhere along there. We don't know. Did the suspect walk back like this and kind of come around and get to their vehicle that was up here? We don't know. Also, do we have Richard Allen, the vehicle, do we have a vehicle matching Richard Allen's vehicle driving by the Hoosier Harvest store? Well, we do have it in one direction. Thank you, Suzu Pedals. Or Zuzu Pedals. Through interviews, electronic data, photographs, and video from the Hoosier Harvest store, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail that day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were interviewed, and none of those people encountered the male subject referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls Betsy Blair and Sarah Carbaugh as well. Further, none of those individuals witnessed Abby or Libby. So there was all these people that showed up later after 2:13, and none of them saw the Richard Allen, the guy that looks like Richard Allen, or the bridge guy. Nobody saw him. And they didn't see the girls either, even though they were dropped off. So where were they? Well, he was killing them on the north side of Deer Creek. Further, none of those individuals witnessed Abby and Libby. Investigators reviewing prior tips. So I think, this is my opinion, I think somebody literally tipped them in to Richard Allen. Then they went back and reviewed their prior tips and all of their paperwork and found, oh my God, we actually do have a tip from Richard Allen himself. And here it is. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. That narrative stated Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. Okay, so look at, he said at the old Farm Bureau building, but in later interviews he said at the old building, something like that. And here's where it is. The Farm Bureau building there's one in downtown Delphi over here, way over, right there. That's not what he was talking about. He parked right here, and then he went to the Freedom Bridge, and then he passed 3 girls, he said. There were 4, but one of them was really little. So he likely didn't even notice her. So he walks by, and now the argument back is, oh, wait a minute, those are 3 different girls. And then his story about, because he changed his story, I'm just going to let you know. When he was arrested in October of 2022, he said he got there at noon and left at 1:30, because then it puts him outside of the range of the homicides. It's weird how the pro-Richard Allen wackos, they don't understand how obvious that is, that he literally realized over time when he first said it. Here's what happened in this case. This is what I believe. Richard Allen, he saw those 3 girls, and after he killed Abby and Libby, he was kind of in his mind panicking, oh my God, those girls might recognize me because I got a job over there at the pharmacy. Then, a few days later, just 2 or 3 days after the homicides, they put out an image of the suspect on the bridge, and I think he thought, he saw himself, and he goes, oh my God, I better get ahead of this. So he calls the tip line, and that's when he spoke to Dan Doolin. And he went through and said, yeah, I was there from 1:30 to 3:30, because he knew that he was caught on camera. And that's when Dan Doolin, I always say, could have said, man, yeah, we have you on camera. That was a trail camera. And he'd go, oh, yeah, yeah. Well, and then you could arrest him immediately, because that was actually on Libby's phone, and they know that the guy on the bridge was the guy that said down the hill and took them. Yeah. Yeah, we know Truthless. I've said that 100 times. Anyway, so it says Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. And then he noted that one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. So there you go. You see that? Yeah. Yeah, I've explained why. People do this all the time. There's so many cases out there where the killer comes back and they sort of insinuate themselves into the case to try to seem like they're being helpful, but they're really just trying to get information and see where they stand and see if anybody's suspicious, because they're paranoid. And Richard Allen was very, very paranoid. He knew that was him and that he passed those 3 girls. So this part right here places him there. I mean, just think how crazy this is. At 1:30 to 3:30, he's there. Right? And then also they found they got his cell phone information. Then they did some tests on a ballistics on an ejected bullet at one point. And investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Service building, the CPS building, as there was not a Farm Bureau building in the area, nor had there been. Investigators believe the females he saw included RV, BW, and AS due to the time they were leaving the trail. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvester video at 1:27 traveling westbound. There you go. So now this verifies, or is circumstantial evidence, that Richard Allen's vehicle was driving coming from this direction over here. So I'd have to make myself smaller. Let's see. Well, it's making me tiny down here. But he'd be driving like this, heading westbound, and he passes the Hoosier Harvester at 1:27, which is circumstantial evidence that, yes, he did get there at 1:30, just like he said he did. So he pulls in, and then he passes those 3 girls who saw him, and he saw them. All right? Investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former... Okay, that says, investigators discovered Richard Allen owned the vehicle, and then at 1:27 it was spotted on the Hoosier Harvester, traveling westbound on CR 300 North in front of the Hoosier Harvester, which coincided with the statement that he arrived around 1:30 p.m. at the trails. There you go, see? Investigators note witnesses described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Service building as a, PT Cruiser, but they didn't really say that. They said PT Cruiser or small SUV, and that's the next one, small SUV, smart car, etc. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar, and I showed you guys why they're similar. On October 13th, we just talked about that one. We don't know if was spotted leaving, but wouldn't it be cool if they do have him leaving at like 4:05, just after Sarah Carbaugh saw him? We talked about that yesterday. On October 13, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13, 2017. So this is when they came to question him again. He advised he was on the trails on February 13th, right? So this is what he said in another interview. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge and that he went on to the Monenhigh Bridge. So he's talking about those same 3 girls again. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monenhigh Bridge to watch the fish. Later in his statement, he said he walked out onto the first platform. Isn't that amazing, everybody? Because that's exactly what Betsy Blair told police years ago, that she came right here and saw him standing on platform 1. The timing of this person standing here, and Betsy Blair, and the time that the car drove over here, parked, he got out, past the 3 girls, absolutely perfectly lines up with what Richard Allen is saying right here. And he stood on platform 1, so he gets there, and he's standing on platform 1, and Betsy Blair shows up. He got here probably at 1:46. Betsy Blair got there 7 minutes after he got there, and he's standing on platform 1. And, people don't look at fish for 1 minute. If you're standing there looking at fish hanging out, you're going to stay there 5-10 minutes, right? I don't know, Gray. I remember this one time. Okay, well, you can say whatever the hell you want. He advised so he was talking to investigators again. He said he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge. And then he went on to the Monenhigh Bridge. So he kept walking down the trail. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monenhigh Bridge to watch the fish. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. He stated he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. It makes me wonder if he sat on a bench for a couple minutes, because there's a couple benches, especially you have the one that the girls were on, the 3 right over here. Those 3 girls that walk by, there's a bench, you can see it. There's a bench there, and then there's actually another bench right here. So maybe after he walked past those girls, he sat here for a few minutes and he was watching. Wouldn't that be interesting if he was here and he was waiting and watching for 2 or 3 minutes? He sat here and waiting to see if, I don't know. We don't know for certain if he knew Abby and Libby were going to be there or not. We don't know. But what if he was watching from there to see if anybody came down? Then he would follow. But after not seeing anybody for a few minutes, he walked all the way down here by himself, and then he makes it here. I'm just saying, I wonder if he mentioned the bench because he thought, man, what if they dusted for DNA, and my DNA was on that bench? Who knows why he mentioned that. He said he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. He stated he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to read this to you while this is playing. All right, here we go. I'll move it back. Here we go. He said he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. He further claimed he saw no one else except for the juvenile girls he saw east of the Freedom Bridge. He told investigators that he owns firearms and they are at his home. All right, Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy, Kathy Allen spoke to investigators. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. Hey, thanks, Karen. 5 more. Welcome to Municipality, Suzanne Sprague, Cirrus, Charisma, and Naomi. So Richard Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, also spoke with investigators. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. She also noted that Richard still owns a blue Carhartt jacket. On October 13, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence at 1967 North Whiteman Drive, Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer model P226 40 caliber pistol. Between October 14th and October 19th, the Indiana Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. Let me go back to the other screen. The laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm, function test, barrel and overall length measurements, test firing, ammunition, component characterization, microscopic comparison, and NIBIN. The laboratory determined the unspent round, remember that, located within 2 feet of the victim 2's body, had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. The laboratory remarked, and it just says, an identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random, striated, impressed marks as evidenced by the correspondence of a pattern of combination patterns of surface contours. The interpretation of identification is subject in nature and based on relevant scientific research and the reporting examiner's training and experience. Right, so who knows, maybe that's, the angle the defense will have to come up with and discredit that. Investigators then ran the firearm and found that the firearm was purchased by Richard Allen in 2001. Richard Allen voluntarily came to the Indiana State Police Post on October 26th. He spoke with investigators and stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer model P226 firearm. When asked about the unspent bullet, he did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between the bodies of Victim 1 and Victim 2. He again admitted that he was on the trail, but denied knowing Victim 1 and Victim 2, or Abby and Libby. He denied any involvement in their murders. Carroll County Sheriff Department Detective Tony Liggett has been part of the investigation since it started in 2017. He has had an opportunity to review and examine evidence gathered in the investigation. Detective Liggett, along with other investigators, believe the evidence gathered shows that Richard Allen is the male subject seen on the video from Libby's phone who forced the victims down the hill. Further, that the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen and led to the location where they were murdered. Through the statements and photographs of the juvenile females and the statement of Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS, were at the southeast edge of the trail at 1243 east of the Freedom Bridge at 126 and walked across the former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25 after 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46 p.m. They walked the entirety of the trail and observed only one person. So they cleared the area. So even Richard Allen's second story where he says, I got there at noon and left at 1:30, these three girls cover probably an hour of that entire time, and they didn't see him until they were leaving, because that's when he actually got there. He got there at 1:30, not noon. Betsy Blair's vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:46 p.m., leaving at 2:14 p.m. And she stated she only saw one adult male. RV, BW, AS, Betsy Blair described the male as in familiar manners, wearing similar clothing, or similar manners, wearing similar clothing. Leading investigators believe all four saw the same male individual. Investigators believe the male observed by Betsy Blair, I think I just said that. No, it's not. Observed by Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS is the same male depicted in the video from Libby's phone due to the descriptions of the male, and I would say in the timing, by the four females matching the male in the video. Furthermore, Libby's video was taken at 2:13 p.m. and Betsy Blair saw only one male while she was on the trail from approximately 1:46 to 2:14. And there you go. He is the male. Nobody else saw him because he was off killing at that time. Hey, thank you so much, Cheryl Bullock. A male subject matching Richard Allen's description was not seen on the trail after 2:13. Investigators identified other individuals on the trail. And by the way, Richard Allen says he was there from 12 to 1. What in the hell are you doing from 12 to 1:30? You're just hiding in the woods somewhere and nobody else saw you? I mean, how do you explain any of that? It's ridiculous. It says, investigators identified other individuals on the trails, CR North, 300 North, between 2:30 and 4:11. None of those individuals saw a male subject matching the description of Richard Allen on the trail. Furthermore, Richard Allen stated that he only saw 3 girls on the trail who investigators believe to be RV, BW, and AS. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with Abby and Libby. An unspent .40 caliber round between the bodies of Abby and Libby was forensically determined to have been cycled through Richard Allen's 6-hour model P226. The 6-hour model P226 was found at Richard Allen's residence, and he admitted to owning it. Investigators were able to determine that he had owned it since 2001. Richard Allen stated he had not been on that property where the unspent round was found, that he did not know the property owner, which is Ron Logan, and that he had no explanation as to why a round cycled through his firearm would be at that location. Furthermore, he stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the 6-hour model P226. Investigators believe that after the victims were murdered, Richard Allen returned to his vehicle by walking down CR 300 North. Investigators believe he was seen by Sarah Carbaugh walking back to his vehicle on CR 300 North with clothes that were muddy and bloody. Tony Liggett, along with investigators, believe the statements made by the witnesses because the statements corroborate the timeline of the death, the 2 victims, as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Further, the accounts relayed by Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS are similar in nature, and timestamps on photographs taken by BW correspond to the times the juvenile females said they were on the trail and saw a male individual. Oh man, I just had a light turn on there. Oh man, it got so bright. That's better. Investigators believe after that time, Abby and Libby were removed from the bridge by Richard Allen. It says, investigators believe Richard Allen committed this kidnapping, which resulted in the killing of Abby and Libby. From their prior conclusions, investigators believe Richard Allen was the male depicted in Abby's video saying, "Guys, down the hill." They believe Richard M. Allen was carrying his 6-hour model P226 on that day, and that's why Abby says, he's got a gun, right? Because that's the gun. That's why there's a bullet that's chambered, and then later he ejects it, but he can't find it among all the debris. You know, there's so many twigs and branches around. So you couldn't find it. They further believe, investigators believe, they hear the sound of a gun being cycled. See, they told, and guess what, everybody? You hear that part right there? See, a lot of people, they don't know this, the pro-Richard Allen types. Okay, they further believe he was carrying the 6-hour model P226 from the audio from Victim 2's video, in which investigators believe they hear the sound of a gun being cycled. I knew that in March of 2017 by somebody who heard it, or their friend watched the video and described everything to her, and she said that law enforcement told the family that they can hear the click sound. They think he's, cocking the gun, getting it ready. So that's been out there the whole time. They're not inventing this stuff. So they find this bullet at the crime scene. They just didn't know who the driver of the vehicle that was parked at the abandoned CPS building was. And then once they actually get a name and they go investigate, they find that he has a P226 that shoots the exact caliber. Then they test it out and it was ejected from his gun. And he's the guy who said he was there during that time. Isn't that just obvious, you guys, at that point? Yeah. Anyways, investigators believe after that time, Abby and Libby were removed from the bridge by Richard Allen to where their murder occurred. Charges were filed against Richard M. Allen on October 28, 2022 for 2 counts of murder. Once Richard Allen was taken into custody, he was moved to Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Corrections, for safekeeping. He was seen in said facility since, he's been in said facility since November of 2022. When Richard M. Allen entered the facility, he was placed in the segregation unit for his protection. In the segregation unit, his cell is equipped with a video recorder, which records his activities within the cell. There are also logs indicating when Richard Allen leaves the cell and for what purpose. He is also being seen by medical providers and mental health specialists to evaluate his physical condition and monitor his mental health. Richard M. Allen also has the ability to use a tablet in his cell to send text messages, make phone calls, and listen to music. Upon Richard Allen's arrival to the facility, he was placed on suicide watch because of certain statements he made about harming himself. Why would he do that? Why would an innocent person do that? Throughout his stay, his mental health improved to the point that he was taken off of the suicide watch. He was also participating in recreation time and beginning to exercise. So, see how everything's going better, you know? The facility reports that he was doing well and that they had no issues or concerns. His day-to-day demeanor was that he was quiet, read a lot of books, did crossword puzzles, and exercised daily. Then on April 3rd, 2023, Richard M. Allen made a phone call to his wife, Kathy Allen. In that phone call, Richard Allen admits several times that he killed Abby and Libby. Investigators had the phone call transcribed, and the transcription confirms that Richard M. Allen admits that he committed the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty Durant. He admits several times within the phone call that he committed the offenses as charged. His wife, Kathy Allen, ends the phone call abruptly. So she's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Ooh, and she hangs up the phone. And then look at, soon after, attorneys for Richard Allen filed an emergency motion to modify safekeeping order. In that motion, the defense states that Richard Allen's mental state has declined because Westville Correctional Facility is unfit and that he should be removed. Defense also makes allegations that his mental health has declined to the point where Richard M. Allen has been deprived of his constitutional rights. Isn't that amazing? Like, right after he confesses, miraculously, he goes bonkers, you know? I mean, what are the odds of that? And let's see. Currently, you guys, we are at 30%. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel tonight, it allows me to keep doing these shows and do all the great stuff that we do at the end of the month. This channel has donated, what are we at now? For those new people that might be watching, $216,000 out of the income from the channel has been given to our DNA fund and various other charities out there. We have a DNA fund and we have a scholarship fund. We've put $12,000 into that so far. We've already completed this year's funding, and so we're just going to be reviewing videos for applications for two. I think actually this year we're going to do 3 $2,000 scholarships. All right. Last year we did 2 $3,000 ones, but I think it'd be cool to be able to give one more to that other person that you kind of wanted to do it. And then we also, you guys have seen this. So we've already given $36,665. That comes out of when you guys are supporting the channel and also from ad revenue and any other money that comes in. I just give money at the end of each month, and I like to try to keep that stuff going. So if you guys have the ability to, I don't want anybody not being able to survive or anything like that. But if you can, that'd be great. All right, thank you. And thanks, Tamara. Not today, but tomorrow. All right. And so don't you think that's a little bit sketchy that soon after Richard Allen confesses, he miraculously becomes just a lunatic, right? And that's when he starts drooling on his shirt. You get. I think this is the one. Let me see it. I'll show you. Okay, I gotta stay here. Well, anyways, it's on the. You can kind of see it right over here. This little image right there. Like right away, he's just drooling and sick as hell, eating crap, doing all this stuff. And I think that they actually had him confess. Who confesses 60 times, right? I think a few of those are legit. I think some of the other ones were that his defense attorney said, you know what, you're going to have to go out and start confessing all over the place. Make sure to throw in some, not so accurate descriptions, etc. And he did it. So that's how unethical his attorneys are. I guarantee you that that's what he did. What they did. That they told him, oh yeah, go out there and he says all these different things, etc. And that's and the prosecution is going to show how that was done. That everything was fine up until he confessed. Then all of a sudden he got really crazy, really fast, and then he starts confessing all over the place. I think it's really obvious, and it's kind of stunning that the pro-Richard Allen people don't see that kind of stuff. Well, look at my thumbnail that I made. He has a whole bunch of different looks. Hey, thank you. Ishy says, or she Ishy says, right? And this one said, thanks as always, Gray, for all what you do to keep us up to date on these cases. Hey, no problem. And by the way, in that other case that we talked about the other day, never mind, I'll just stick on this. I think it's Simpson or his last name. They're checking a landfill for that, on that one. Yeah, so anyway, it says soon after, so here's how it's all worded in here, and it's exactly true. Soon after, attorneys for Richard Allen filed an emergency motion to modify. The defense alleges that mental capacity has declined because of his incarceration. And of course, that's why he confessed. Then on April 14th, Richard Allen was evaluated by 2 psychiatrists and 1 psychologist to discuss his turn in behavior and whether or not there was a need for involuntary medication. The panel would also discuss moving Richard Allen to a different facility that has a psychiatric unit. From that meeting, it was determined that Richard Allen did not need involuntary medication and that he did not need to be moved to another facility. Since that meeting, Richard Allen has began to eat again and has begun to sleep. The behavior has begun to return to what it was prior to making the admission on April 3rd. That's crazy. So that's like 2 weeks later, just 10 days later, he's back to normal again. So he had this crazy moment where he just confessed all over the place. And remember, he tried to take his life when he first got in there. But why would he do that if you're just totally innocent? Wouldn't you just be like, what do you guys, just fight for your being innocent? Investigators believe the information that Westville Correctional Facility has gathered since Richard Allen was placed in that facility is important to the investigation. Investigators believe that there is video evidence that will include his admissions plus his behavior prior to the admission and directly after. Right, so it'll be totally normal, confession, phone call by Kathy to the attorneys, and then crazy as a lunatic. Investigators also believe logs kept of his daily routines are important to determine when he was in his cell and when he was removed, and the reason he was removed. Further, any records of physical exams and or mental exams will be important to determine the state of his mental and physical health. This information is needed to refute the allegations made in defense's emergency motion to modify safekeeping order. The evidence is also necessary to refute the allegations of diminished mental capacity and or other possible defenses. It may also be important as the state introduces additional evidence gathered, including admissions made by Richard Allen himself. Investigators believe all the information is important in the continued investigation for murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. All right, well, there's that one. But I think this one has extra, little different information. Yeah, I'm just going to go through these two. Okay, even though it's the same, it's similar. It'll ingrain the stuff into your mind, and plus it will. It's got different information in it. All right, so there we go. You guys ready or what? I got to go use the restroom first, though, so I'll be back in a minute. Don't leave, everybody. I know you guys are really impatient. But I'll be back in just a minute. You see that? 20 impatient wackos had to take off. Isn't that amazing? That's how it works every time. Alright, so anyways, this is how this one starts. I'm not sure what you're talking about. What guest? I don't have a guest on here. I don't understand. Anyways, that on Monday, February 13, 2017, at approximately 1:50 p.m., Abigail Williams and Liberty German were dropped off by a family member at the Mononhigh Bridge Trail off of County Road 300 North. On Tuesday, February 14th, 2017, at approximately 12:17 p.m., so you already got different p.m., the girls were found deceased. Their bodies were located in the woods northeast of the Mononhigh Bridge. Autopsies of the girls ruled their death as homicide, and their wounds were caused by a sharp object. Investigators located Liberty German's iPhone 6S under the body at the scene. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Can we just kind of stay with this? I don't know what guest you're talking about. I don't know any of this crap. Yeah, I never said I was having a guest on tonight. My God, you guys. This is just bizarre. Anyways, the video depicts Abigail walking on the Mononhigh Bridge towards Liberty while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. Near the end of the video, the man is heard in the video telling the girls down the hill. Through further and you don't see one on the screen, nor have I introduced one, so I'm just not sure why this is being talked about. You know, You know, she likely might be coming on tomorrow. Don't really know. Yeah, it says how they were killed. It says, I hate just being thrown off all the time. It just drives me nuts. Investigators located Liberty German's iPhone 6S under the body of the scene and were able to recover a video. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off. I'm going to get rid of the chat for a bit. All right. There we go. Let's see. The video depicts Abigail Williams walking. Well, it says the video was 43 seconds long, so let me do that part. Investigators located Liberty German's iPhone 6S under her body. I thought that was found underneath Abby's body. Hold on a second. All right, that was I guess the vet. The vet called about Gracie regarding. I guess they found like residual something about Giardia, and they just want to give her like 5 days of some kind of, they didn't say she had it right now, but give her 5 days of something to, wipe it out or something, and then I guess that's it. So yeah, I got a call from the vet at 7 o'clock at night. I mean, who the hell? That's crazy. Anyways, where are we at up here? Hey, welcome, Sarah D. Through investigation, I'm going to go back up here. Investigators located Liberty German's iPhone 6S under her body. I thought that was underneath Abby's body. At the scene, and were able to recover a video approximately 43 seconds in length, captured at 2:13 p.m. on February 13, 2017. The video depicts Abigail walking on the Monon High Bridge. See, this is cool because it tells us all the stuff we used to know all a long time ago, is that she is, you see her in the video. We always said that little tiny blueness that comes in is part of Abby, and she's actually on the bridge, and I was told that too. So it's strange how people always would argue that over and over and over and over and over and over again. And, whenever you tell it to them, they get really upset about it. I mean, they like you're lying or making something up. And it was true the whole time. Near the end of the video, the man is heard in the video telling the girls down the hill. Through further investigation of the location of the bodies, investigators also located a .40 caliber unspent round. They also determined that the articles of clothing from the girls were missing from the scene, including a pair of underwear and a sock. Through the investigation, there were interviews done with 3 of the 4 girls that were on the trails that day. So see how they say, now it says it, done with 3 of the 4 girls that were on the trails that day. The girls observed a male on the trails on February 13th that matched the description the male in the video recorded by Liberty German. The three girls, identified as Riley, Brianna, and Anna, encountered the male near a bench east of the Freedom Bridge. The girls were on the trail and were walking towards the Freedom Bridge to go home. The male they encountered was walking from the Freedom Bridge towards the Monenhigh Bridge. One of the three girls, identified as Anna, described the male as an older man walking on the trails as they were leaving, and she described him as kind of creepy. In a text from Anna to Kyla, that's somebody that's not one of the three, Anne described the man as wearing like blue jeans and like really light blue jacket. And it says his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. Investigators Steve Mullen and Brent Ingram interviewed Anna, and she described the male as wearing a blue jacket and light blue faded blue jeans. The jacket was a canvas duck type jacket. Riley Voorhees was also in the group of four girls, and she said that she said hi to the man, but she just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. And look up there. Wendy Woobles tried for a wave, and none of the other people in the chat helped with the wave. So if you guys could help out the channel and what Wendy Woobles tried to do there, that'd be great. Let's see. Rayleigh recalled telling Rayleigh we'll just call her Riley, was also in the group of four girls, and she said that she said hi to the man, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. And maybe that's that white thing that sticks out when you watch the video. Let's see. Yeah, my Susan Hendricks, that used to be on HLN, might come on tomorrow. Yeah, see that little white thing underneath his chin there? Maybe that was a scarf that he put up there. Oh, MM. Oh, Wendy Woobles. Oh, you're continuing MM and Wendy Woobles. Well, let's keep going, you guys. Yeah. And by the way, I animated the walk cycle to look like you see it right there, where it moves more naturally. Riley went on to say in an interview that he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She said that he had his hands in his pockets. An interview was conducted in 2020 of Bree. That's one of, I think, Kelsey's friends. She was there. She's one of those three. She was able to show investigators a picture that she took on her phone of the Monenhigh Bridge with a timestamp of 12:43. So that's what proves that the girls were at the bridge at 12:43. Bree showed investigators another picture she took at the bench just east of the Freedom Bridge when they were leaving at 1:26 p.m. Bree stated after she took the picture at the bench, they started walking back towards the Freedom Bridge. Bree stated that's when they walked past the man who matched the description of the individual in the picture. Detective Liggett believes the picture that she is referring to is the picture law enforcement released of the man on the bridge taken from the video Liberty captured on her cell phone on the day of the murders. Bree described the man as wearing a blue jacket or blue windbreaker jacket. She stated the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath the jacket. Bree advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She stated her head came up to approximately his shoulder. Bree told us Riley said hi to the man and he said nothing back. Bree described the man as wearing with a purpose, was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. See, that's what was always sort of interesting. That's why, like, me and Zozo and some other people, like, it's just hard to not think that he knew that Abby and Libby were going to be there, and what other nefarious person knew that they were going to be there, and that would be possibly the Anthony Schatz profile that Keegan Klein had. And is that why Richard Allen was there, and why he was on a mission? Why did he just so quickly want to pass them, almost like he was waiting for a particular person? Yeah, I said Anthony Schatz account. Yep. Right. I just said that. Yeah, I'm just trying to get you guys, like, caught up on all this. You know, like, if you just follow along right here, you'll understand the state's case, and they have other stuff. You know, they have a ton of cell phone information that they've developed. They've got, you know, a lot of different information. It isn't just, you know, what I'm showing you right here. But this is like the on-the-day basic information right here. Here, I gotta get your little comment thing put back up on here. It's the comment overlay URL. Alright. Alright, anyways, let's keep going here. So, an interview was conducted in 2020 of Bree. She was able to show investigators a picture that she took on her phone of the Monenhigh Bridge at 12:43, and then another one at 1:26. Bree stated that's when they walked past, you know, the man depicted in Libby's video. Detective Liggett believes the picture that she's referring to is a picture law enforcement released of a man on the bridge taken from the video Liberty German captured on her cell phone on the day of the murders. Bree described the man as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She stated the jacket had a collar, and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath the jacket. Bree advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She stated her head came up to approximately his shoulder. Bree told us Riley said hi to the man, and he said nothing back. Bree described the man as walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. Bree also stated the man had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She didn't get a good look at his face, but believed he was a white male. As the girls left, they crossed the Freedom Bridge and the railroad bridge over Old SR 25. An individual by the name of Betsy Blair was returning to the trails to finish her walk. Betsy Blair is seen on video at the Hoosier Harvest Store on 300 North, traveling eastbound. I wonder what they mean by finishing, like she was there earlier or something. Eastbound to the trailhead to park at, and it was, this is now we know it's 146:20 is when she passes the Hoosier Harvest Store. So I can put that on that. $146.20. So that's a precise time. Blair saw the girls walking above as she went under the railroad bridge. Yeah, so that would have been before that, about two minutes prior. Blair saw the girls walking above as she went under the railroad bridge on September 21st, and she saw 4, and there was 4. See? I don't see somebody named. Oh, there he is. Man, we got one of the crazy loons in here, of course. No, you can't what? Right, but don't you think it's funny, Philip, that one of Richard Allen's own attorneys, one of the ones that took the place of Baldwin and Rosie for a few months there, those two people, one of them was on a show that said how damning the ejection marks was. Isn't that amazing? You know, who knows? I mean, they might be able to get somebody in there that can completely, you know, make the jury have some reasonable doubt, you know. But when you start using, you know, you come up with odds and all the different things that you keep, circumstantial evidence that you pack on top of each other, that's where it causes an issue. Also, hey, Plato, thanks for sending those images earlier. At least you were driving around stalking the building. Nothing much going on there. Blair saw the girls walking above as she went under. Okay, and then Mr. Allen was on the trail. This is what he said to Dan Doolin. This is where it actually mentions his name here. It was from DNR Lieutenant Dan Doolin. The narrative was Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. So there was 4 girls, but he saw 3. He noted one was taller, and that's where the pro-Richard Allen people, they go, ooh, let's combine that with him telling the police later that he got there at 12 and left at 1:30, and then it's just 3 different girls. Now, maybe those 3 girls didn't even see him, but he saw them. It never ends, man. Never ends. Yeah, anyways, that's exactly the same as the one we read before. And there's no old Farm Bureau building. Detective Liggett then examined the timeline for the day of the homicide. As previously said above, Riley, Brianna, and Anna were leaving the trails and passed by a male matching the description of the male in the video taken by Liberty German. Given the statement by Allen and the timestamp of the video from the Hoosier Harvest Store and the statements from the 3 of the 4 girls, Detective Liggett believes that the male the 3 of the girls saw was in fact Richard Allen. Allen stated that after he passed the girls, and then he walked to the Monenhigh Bridge and saw nobody else. Investigators believe after passing the Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:46, Blair parked at the trailhead entrance across from the Mears residence. In her interview, she says there are no other cars at the trailhead entrance at that time, which is accurate. She walked to the Monenhigh Bridge, and a male matching the male from Liberty's video. She described him as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. This matches the blue duck canvas jacket Anna Spath describes. Blair said that the male was standing on the first platform on the Monenhigh Bridge, approximately 50 feet away from her. Blair turned around at the bridge and continued to walk. At approximately halfway between the bridge and the main hub of the trails, she passed 2 girls walking towards the high bridge. Blair said that she believed it was Liberty German and Abigail Williams. At 1:49 on the Hoosier Harvest Store video, there is a white car that matches Kelsey German's vehicle. Liberty and Abigail would have been dropped off right before this video. Blair finished with her walk, is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store video, leaving westbound at 4:14. Blair said she saw no adults other than the male on the bridge. As Blair was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an old manor at the old Child Protective Service building. She said that it was not odd for a vehicle to be parked there, but it was odd that it was backed in near the building. She said that vehicles often use the south edge of the parking lot, so they are close to the trail to get to the Freedom Bridge. Detective Liggett reviewed a tip, DIN C001751, from Terry Wilson. Wilson was on his way to Delphi on February 13, 2017, on the Hoosier Heartland Highway at approximately 2:10. He observed what he described as a purple TT Cruiser or a small SUV-type vehicle parked on the south side of the CPS building. Wilson said that it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. During their interviews, both Blair and Wilson drew a diagram and had the vehicle they saw parked in the same general area and manner. An interview was done of Sarah Carbaugh in 2017. She stated that she was traveling east on 300 North and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from the high bridge. She stated that he was wearing blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators determined from the video that she was on 300 North at 3:57. Richard Allen was interviewed by investigators on October 13, 2022 in Investigators Center. He was interviewed by Detective Liggett and Carroll County Prosecutor Investigator Stephen Mullen. He agreed to come to the center and speak with investigators. He was advised of his rights, and he was further advised he was not under arrest and was free to leave at any time. Investigator Mullen explained to him how to leave the center if he so desired, and he stated that he was in fact on the trails on February 13th, 2017. He further stated that he saw 3 girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge, and also that he went onto the Monenhigh Bridge. He also told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood on that day. He stated he also wore some type of head covering. He further claimed that he saw no one else but the 3 girls that he observed east of the Freedom Bridge. Further, prior to the interview, he told investigators that he also had guns at this home. All right, you guys, I'm doing the reading. If you guys could help support the channel, we're still not at the goal, if you can believe it. So if you guys can help support the channel like we've been doing for years and years and years, that would be great. Thank you. Let's see. Richard Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, spoke to investigators as well. She confirmed. So a lot of this is the same. Let's see what it says down here. The investigator gathered. The evidence gathered shows that on February 13, 2017, that 4 girls, Riley, Brianna, Anna, and Isabel, that's the younger girl, were on the trails when they observed a male individual walking on the trails towards the Monenhigh Bridge. The male was wearing clothes similar to the clothes of the male depicted in the video taken from Liberty German's phone. Investigators know that this male is the last known individual to have contact with Liberty German and Abigail Williams before they were murdered. Further, Betsy Blair was shown a picture of the individual on the Monenhigh Bridge, and she says that it's the same individual that she witnessed on the trails and on the bridge. In an interview with Richard M. Allen done on October 13, 2022, he admits that he was in fact on the trails on February 13th and walked past the 3 girls and continued onto the Monenhigh Bridge. He stated that he was physically on the bridge. After Betsy Blair sees this individual, there are several other individuals on the trail that don't observe the man or Liberty German or Abigail Williams. Sarah Carbaugh then observes a man walking down 300 North with a blue jacket and jeans, and that he is muddy and bloody, as if he had just been in a fight. She is shown a picture of the man on the bridge, and she says that it's the same man she observed walking on 300 North. See, that's what's interesting, is all of the witnesses said that after showing a picture, they go, yeah, that's the one I saw. Investigators believe that Richard Allen is the last individual to have contact with Liberty German and Abigail Williams. And he is the individual depicted on the Monenhigh Bridge from the video. I guess this is one of those nights I gotta dance a jig, right? Alright, so here's this big thing here. So if we type in, like, I think this is hilarious. This is the Frank's memorandum written to the judge. And it's like, because of the facts in this memorandum are dense for anyone not yet completely familiar with the case, the defense is providing this introductory section similar to the, they're doing this so that people like us, they were doing it for the people reading it. Not the, if this was really for the courts, they wouldn't have put that statement in there. They did it for the general public so they could sell their bull crap. Yeah, look, they're mentioning Todd Click in here. Yeah, he just got arrested. So let's see, Sarah. All right, so here's the Sarah Carbaugh stuff that they say that refutes some of, it's arguing against it. Well, you don't have to apologize, Sandy. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know why you're apologizing, but the evidence will show that Liggett just flat out lied about what he claims Sarah Carbaugh told him in 2017 concerning a man walking down the road near the murder scene. For Liggett's timeline to work, Liggett needed Sarah Carbaugh to describe a man walking down the road. See, her thing doesn't even matter. I don't even care. I mean, you could take Sarah Carbaugh's comment out, and Richard Allen got to his car however he got to his car. It doesn't matter. He was there, though, It says, Sarah Carbaugh described a man walking down the road wearing blue jacket who had blood covering his clothing. However, in 2017, Sarah did not say these things. This did not prevent Liggett from affirming under oath that Sarah Carbaugh did say those things. In fact, Sarah Carbaugh actually told Liggett in 2017 that she observed a man walking down the road wearing a tan coat whose clothes were muddy. Nowhere did Carbaugh claim in 2017 that the man she observed was wearing a blue coat. Nowhere did Carbaugh claim in 2017 that the man observed was wearing bloody clothes. Nowhere. This truth about Sarah Carbaugh actually told Liggett in 2017 blows up Liggett's timeline. See, whoever wrote this writes like a kid, by the way. I mean, it's just so childish. Yeah, I mean, so I bet what the deal is like 2017 she said things and then was asked, she was thinking about it again at a later date and said, that maybe that was, you look kind of disheveled, whatever it was. I doubt they just invented stuff for this. Obviously, the judge has seen the actual conversations. They won't put it in here. The defense won't. They just want to sell their narrative. So you got that one. And then Betsy Blair. They kind of try to contradict everybody in here. So we'll go to here. The evidence will show that Liggett concealed facts concerning descriptions that key witness Betsy Blair made. Thanks, chicken wing. Yeah, I remember when they also said he had he was actually dragging along an oxygen tank. Yeah, that was good stuff. And that he had a dog stuffed down his shirt. He had a GoPro camera on his shoulder. He had a cigarette dangling from his mouth. He was spit and chew. I mean, people just say whatever the hell they want to say without any evidence at all. The evidence will show that Liggett concealed facts concerning descriptions that key witness Betsy Blair. So Betsy Blair is, I think, like a really important witness. She puts him on platform 1, and she's 50 feet away though, and he's obviously not looking at her because he himself said he didn't see her. So she probably walked up, and he didn't look at her, perhaps, and then she walks away. And she just remembers, she thought it was this younger looking person, and the thing is, if you took this right here, this face, and you put a hat, like a hoodie over it, you might think he was a young person, and also what he looked like then is totally different. He looked like a completely different person back in 2017. He was stocky. He was much stronger. He's trying to let himself wither away so that the jury has a hard time picturing him having the strength to do this stuff. But all the prosecution has to do is show images of what he looked like back then. The evidence will show that Liggett concealed facts concerning description that witness Betsy Blair made directly to Liggett's face-to-face in 2019 concerning the person that she, Betsy Blair, observed on the bridge. A vehicle that she, Betsy Blair, observed at the CPS parking lot at around 2:15 p.m. For Liggett's timeline, they keep trying to make this thing about timeline. It has nothing, it just is bullcrap. I mean, this one does have a little bit more to do with the timeline, but Sarah Carba doesn't have anything to do with the timeline. It's just another later time. The only time that really matters is that he's locked into being at the bridge by himself. He said that he was there, okay? So it says right here, Liggett desperately needed, notice how they use words like that? See, it's so childish. You know, it's like you're writing a novel or something. Liggett desperately needed Betsy Blair to describe a man on the bridge that looked like Richard Allen, and furthermore, desperately needed Betsy Blair to describe a car that she observed parked at the CPS parking lot as looking like Richard Allen's black Ford Focus. Suffice it to say, the evidence will show that Liggett concealed from Judge Diener, and I don't know if any of this stuff can be in the trial. It might be able to be, but it was all denied, and obviously they had to, the judge looked at the actual evidence, etc. And described a car at the CPS lot that looked nothing like Richard Allen's car, both in color and design. The evidence will show that Betsy provided these timeline defeating descriptions directly to Liggett's face-to-face 2 times in 2019. Wow, so like 2 years later. Yet Liggett failed to inform Judge Diener of these descriptions, as well as inform Diener of the fatal flaws that these missing descriptions created for the timeline. So I'm just showing you what they're going to try to argue here. Thank you, Heather Wyndham. The evidence will also show that Liggett just flat out lied about what he... Okay, then did we already do that one? The evidence will show that Liggett flat out lied about what Liggett claimed Sarah Caldwell told him in 2017. No, that was different. I think I must have... Oh, okay, that was below that. The evidence will show that Liggett just flat out lied. Okay. Well, where else is Betsy mentioned? Okay, we got all these already. Okay. Evidence in his search warrant affidavit concerning statements of Betsy Blair and fabricated statements in his search warrant affidavit, Sarah Carbot. You will learn later in the memorandum Betsy Blair observed a man on the High Bridge at around 2 p.m. Yeah, I have it at like 1:56 or 1:53. The man she observed turned into sketch 2, according to Holman. This man is also the killer, Richard Allen. And that other image is, that's the younger looking sketch they put out. She was insistent, oh yeah, look like that, look like that. But then when she showed a picture of the image of the guy on the bridge, she said, oh yeah, that's the guy. And she was 50 feet away. And I don't know, I think that's just how her mind interpreted it. I know that's like, they'll go, oh, come on, Gray, it was obviously a younger, I don't buy it, man. That's the one problem with witnesses. People see stuff that just isn't there often, even though they witnessed a person. There's all kinds of tests on that. I think Fig Solves did a video a while back that actually showed something similar. Thank you, Vicky Dupree. As looking like Richard Allen's black Ford Focus, Betsy Blair's description of the vehicle she observed looked nothing like that. Also concealed in this information from Judge Diener for a good measure, Liggett also lied about what Sarah Carba observed at 3:57 Betsy Blair's first description of the man she saw on the bridge was memorialized in sketch number 2, illustrated on February 17th. And that was actually made. And I knew, we've known all this, that the younger sketch was the first sketch made. But law enforcement sketched it differently based on looking at the video and a little bit of information other people gave. 3 days after the girls were found but not released to the public until April 22nd, 2019. On February 17, 2017, Betsy Blair met with state police sketch artist Taylor D. Bryant and medium, let's see. I guess there should be some stuff here. We can't read it. Oh. How come I can, that's so weird. How come I can, you see that? What's going on there? It was like hidden from me. That was weird. I'm not even sure what I did there. On February 17, 2017, Betsy Blair met with state police sketch artist Taylor D. Bryant and provided a description of the man she observed from 50 feet away on the Monon High Bridge, the same man that Liggett claimed in his affidavit was the killer. Betsy Blair told the sketch artist that the man she observed was a white male. She thought his age was 20, had brown curly hair, and if you go back to some of the older images, he does have brown hair, but who knows what she's just going by her memory. And he's medium build. Find attached and marked as Exhibit 103, facial identification reference sheet, filed as confidential, that contains a description that Betsy Blair provided to the sketch artist. Also find attached a copy of the sketch that Taylor D. Bryant produced from Betsy Blair's description of the man she observed on the bridge, marked as Exhibit 104. This illustration is also called sketch number 2. And so here's the thing, is like when people describe people they see, they walk in, they look at somebody, and then 3 days later they're asked to describe the person. It's just not going to be accurate. What's accurate is that he said he was going to be there he was there from 1:30 to 3:30. 3 girls and Betsy Blair narrowed down the time frame to specific times, and he's not seen again until after he kills the girls and he's walking on 300 North. It's unfortunate. I wish they never had introduced the second sketch, or the first sketch created by Betsy Blair. Because then it's like, oh, see, they thought it was this young guy. Because they tried a whole different strategy. I think they thought the Kleins were involved, and they were trying to spook them out or something. And it turns out, they weren't able to find any connection to the Kleins, to the actual person they arrested later. And you got to ask yourself, look how easy it could have been for law enforcement to, if they're really concocting stories and making stuff up, why didn't they just pin it all on Ron Logan? Like after he died, suddenly find some really interesting thing and pin it on him. Or why didn't they just keep going with the Kleins and invent stuff for them and say, yeah, we think they did it, Instead, some tip comes in and it leads to something else, and boom, it all came together because they went out and got they tested the ballistics and it matched the ejected bullet, and it shows that he was actually there at that time, etc., etc., etc. It just goes on and on and on. Betsy Blair, let's see. Betsy Blair provided her description to the sketch artist only 4 days after seeing the man on the bridge, while it was fresh on her mind, compared with Sarah Carbaugh, who provided her description to the sketch artist 126 days after. Betsy Blair had a good look at the man's face. Why? If he was on platform 1 looking at fish, it was a side view of his face. During her March 7, 2017 interview, Betsy Blair was talking with 2 members of the Unified Command, Kevin Hammond and Tony Liggett. At this interview, Betsy Blair told Liggett face-to-face that the man she observed on the High Bridge fit the following description. The man was a slender and youthful looking. He was more boyish looking. Well, I would classify that as a boyish looking face, wouldn't you? Looks more like a Gollum, though, from Lord of the Rings. He was more boyish looking. The man was in his 20s, early 30s. His hair seemed poofy, like the sketch portrayed. He had no facial hair that she can remember. See, I don't know. See, that's the part that she says the person she saw is the person in the sketch, right? But the guy in the sketch, it has a little bit of a goatee there. So Betsy Blair is just sort of she isn't going to be a problem unless there's a completely, like a good explanation and they're able to, that's the thing. It just creates issues because her memory wasn't good. On March 7, 2019, Liggett was present when Betsy Blair described the man she observed on the bridge. And then down below it says, I, Tony Liggett, believe that Richard Allen is the man that murdered the girls for reasons stated herein. I also believe that the man that Betsy Blair observed on the bridge is Richard Allen, and therefore the killer. However, I must also inform the court that the man that Betsy Blair observed on the bridge really looks nothing like Richard Allen, whereas Richard Allen was a man in his mid-40s. This is how they think he should have written it. Isn't that stupid? In order for Liggett to have provided Judge Diener with honest and accurate information, he would have had to state the following in his affidavit. No, he could write it the way he wanted to write it, because they have more information than you do. Yeah, anyways, and then... what was the other thing I was going to look up? Skill would be critical. Yeah. They seem like they've been ready to go for a long time. Oh yeah, let's see. I think this is the article where, it was just so stupid. They kept talking about Abby over and over and over again. Like, oh, she died. It would have been slow. Oh yeah, the stupid man acting alone crap. Look at this garbage up here. Now, this one man would have had to have solely responsible for marching Abby and Libby down a steep hill. This one man would have to have had... Is that hard to do? Everybody, listen. Is it hard for one man with a gun to march people down a steep hill? And it's not, it's just kind of a short, steep hill. Is that hard to do, everybody? If you have a weapon and you say, hey, down the hill, and you're right behind him with the gun and you get him down the hill. And the answer is no. The next one is, this one man would have had to have marched both girls through the woods for some distance. Well, it's wide open down there. There's no branches that time of year. And that's really simple, again, with a gun, right? Then number 3, at some point in time, this single solitary man would have had to cross the cold river, whose depths were nearly 3.5 feet at its deepest, right, meaning if you'd gone to the deep areas, but you didn't have to go there. And yes, still, with a gun, you can control them. With the cold river water rising well above his waist, this man acting alone has to worry about himself crossing the rushing river while also trying to corral 2 girls, keeping them from running or screaming. It's just, these people are, the way this was written was so childish. This had to have been a YouTuber that did this. Had to have been. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. They talk about how, like, she didn't die right away, Abby. And they're just really disrespectful in here. Anyways, anybody have any questions? I think I'm going to take off here in a minute. just died again in the show. We almost did it. We almost made it. But didn't do it. Insanely ridiculous how they wrote this up. Yep. Yeah, it's just stupid. Can't believe it. Well, a lot of reading in this one, but I want you to have all that stuff in your mind. It's really simple. You know, he drives by here at 1:27. He said he got there at 1:30. That matches. Then he walks this way, and he passes 3 girls, which matches exactly what they all said. They were here at 1:26, walked this way. They passed him about right here. Then he walks this direction and likely gets to the bridge at around 1:46. Sarah Carbaugh Betsy Blair drives by at 1:46 and 20 seconds right here, parks, gets out. So when she gets here, he's there. So he couldn't have sprinted back and passed her while she was walking this way. It's impossible. So she gets out of her car and she walks this direction. She walks to the bridge, and there he is. The bridge guys, right there, Richard Allen. Then she turns around and walks this way and passes Abby and Libby, who had just been dropped off 3 minutes after she got there. And she passes them right here. And those 2 girls, the next person they're going to see is Richard Allen. Then she walks the trails all the way over here and all the way back here. Didn't see him either time. Then leaves. And then he takes the girls down the hill and is over there. And then many other people showed up during that time. And they didn't see anybody. And then later on, he comes walking out up here. I mean, there's just no chance that it's not him there. Richard Allen is bridge guy. Okay? Hey, thanks, Karen. Gray have to hit the hay. Can I get a glimpse of the pups? Well, if they're on the camera, let's see. You might get lucky. I see Blue over there. I'd have to go all the way into the house again, but there's Blue. You see his ears. All right. He's not doing much. I'm not sure where the other dogs are. That's all I can do. Not sure why they're not sitting there, but hey, you got the paintings of the dogs. Does that count, Karen? But let's see, guys. We are about $30 short of reaching the goal. Do you guys think you can do that for me after all that reading in the final few minutes here? Would that be difficult? I think we can do it. And putting it all back together for you guys. And that's what's going to be a trial with much more stuff and witnesses. Much more. Yeah, especially when his confession is going to have really, like, completely, it's just going to, only stuff the killer would know. It's going to be clear. It's not going to say anything like, oh, I shot him in the back, like they're trying to throw out there in their opening statements to the jury pool. Yeah, well, you can see Blue's head anyways. But as I was saying, you guys, we're $30 short of reaching the goal. Is there a possibility that all the freaks working together can make that happen? That'd be awesome. Who are you talking about, Richard? I think there's no, I mean, this case to me is just so obvious, you know. It's one, right when I read the probable cause and then put it all down in motion, I said to myself, oh man, he's trapped. He can't get out of this. That's him. It's almost like, even if Betsy Blair, Betsy Blair's important because she passes Abby and Libby leaving. And then that means like, oh wow, they're going to run into him next. Hey, thanks Richard Watts and Allie Cake. All right, 23 more to go. Here's the thing, you guys. The people on the people that believe Richard Allen didn't do it, it won't matter what the outcome is of this case. They're going to keep covering the case because that's all they do. They don't have any other cases that they cover. So they're just going to keep covering it into oblivion and make it seem like it's all a big cover-up and some crazy thing because that's all they got. They're really trying hard. Grant Hughes, hello, I'm behind. What is known about Richard Allen's wife? Podcast through her attorney about... I don't know what that means. What podcast? What is known about Richard Allen's wife? Podcast through her attorney about not being her husband's. I don't know what that means. Hey, thanks, Sharon Gornick. All right. What does that mean? Maybe somebody... I don't speak girl code, man. You're going to have to... After evening out with kids, did you see that Atlas comet tonight? No, we were actually doing a show. Yeah, well, all I can do is I just go... Here's the thing. I believe law enforcement. I trust them in this case. You know, I've communicated with a few different people over the years. I trust them in the case. I know people out there don't, because that's just that's how they believe every single case is a conspiracy, and they run with that every single time. It doesn't matter. This is one of those ones where I think that, you know, for a while they thought the Kleins were involved, and they really just pushed them hard. And maybe there is a connection still there, but it's analog and there's no way of knowing. And maybe Keegan Klein doesn't even know that Richard Allen had access to some information that was on the Dropbox that led him to go out there that day, because his daughter looks very similar to Libby, and his daughter was wearing a tie-dye shirt, one of the memorial sweatshirts, and a photograph laying on a bed. And then there's also a photograph of his daughter on the bridge. And you just sort of wonder if there's something to do with that in this case. Will the daughter be a witness of some kind? I don't know. So is Richard Allen's wife in a podcast or something? Recanted. What do you mean? Richard Allen's wife recanted, did a podcast through attorney indicating she did not believe. Come on. Where is this? Darn sipe. Indicating she did not believe his incident. Does anybody know what she's talking about? Like 8 days ago. Oh, was that on the pertaining to a rumor? We also cover the latest defense filing. You must be watching, maybe, because I guess Murder Sheet covered that. regarding a rumor regarding Kathy Allen's attorney. So, I don't know. I guess we'll have to check that out. We received a statement from Kathy Allen's attorney pertaining to a rumor. We also cover our previous interview with journalists. I don't know. I'd like to see what she said. Hey, thanks. Love the Sun 100. All right. All right. Her attorney did a podcast for her. Well, where? Where is it? On the murder sheet? That one? I don't know. You'd have to send it to me, Sharon. I've never heard of it. I mean, I do see that the murder sheet covered something related to that. Kathy Allen speaks out and, and other pretrial updates. We received a statement from Kathy Allen's attorney pertaining to a rumor. So what's the rumor? The rumor might be that she doesn't support her husband now. So anyways, all right, guys, I think that's going to do it for me. Thanks to Yorkshire Tea. Unless you guys have more to talk about. Well, where'd you hear about it, Sharon? Because it obviously wasn't here. Now, the Murder Sheet is the podcast that has that. I've said it must have said it 15 times there. Ah, man, I hate rumors where there's no information given to go verify the rumors. It's just... Okay, so you went and watched the other show. Okay. Probably should have been hanging out here with the freaks. All right, you guys. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you to Yorkshire Tea, Virgo new member, Alley Cake, Amber Maiden, Ozzy Trisha. Ozzy Trisha gifted a membership. Then Ozzy Trisha gifted another one. Then Michelle H, Gloria Batari. Then Mark gifted a membership. Tamara became a new member. Then Rebecca Medley gifted a membership. Tamara gifted 5. Aaron Elliott. And then we have Zuzu Petals. Karen gifted 5. Then Cheryl Bullock. Tamara. I don't have any more to talk about, so I'm leaving. Let's see. Ishi Says. MM. Wendy Woobles. Sandy Shirley. Chicken Wing. Georgina Stoliker. Heather Wyndham. Vicky Dupre. Richard Watts. Karen. Richard Watts. Alley Cake. Sharon Gornick, and Love the Sun 100. Jesus. Yeah, well, I don't know anything about what you're saying that the other attorney said or whatever. I have no idea what you're talking about. So, and I don't think anybody else does either. And maybe they don't know what they're talking about either. It doesn't matter that they're attorneys. That doesn't make them more, Yeah. Anyways, we've been on it for 2 hours and 31 minutes. That's pretty long show there. So, hope you guys got something out of it. Did you get everything ready to go now? It's all in your minds for the upcoming... Right, but I don't know what you're referring to, Sharon. So maybe you could send me an email that kind of explains what you're talking about. I have no idea. I know. I want there to. I'm looking forward just even to, like, the write-ups in the articles describing what was said at trial. Just anything. The opening arguments. I want that. You know, that's why I hate it. There needs to be somebody in there that's a stenographer, or somebody that's really good with shorthand that can write down every single word that was said and put it back out there. Yeah, I don't know where that is, truthfully. I just saw that the murder sheet talked about something from 8 days ago. Yeah, I don't like other channels posted in here. I just said you can send me an email. I don't even, especially when I don't know the channel that you're talking about. If it's the defense attorney and her wife, then forget it. Okay. Anybody? Yeah, God, I hate waiting around. It's just so much of a delay now on these damn videos. It's just like 30, have to wait 30 seconds to get a response. So, all right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. And thank you all for supporting the channel. Got to another goal. That basically with the new members that got there. So that was good. I think almost. I think it's not quite. I think I did the math wrong, but I appreciate it, and we'll see you guys later. Just got a note from? I don't know what that means. Right. I think if I went, I wouldn't have been. Well, I don't know. One of the law enforcement people said they'd try to help me get in. So now I'm not going, so forget it. Anyways, we will see you tomorrow, everybody. So thanks for being here, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3. And it's okay, Sharon. I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. I guess that's the problem. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector. And I was gonna be a protector. Fool deflector, interceptor. And I mean a little specter with a vector on his pector. With all respect, just remember I've a temple fucking injection. I have no agenda. I'm a pretender. And I'll serve it to you straight without a blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to review a true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody? Talk to you. Hey, I should do, instead of my flyby, I can play the video that most of you didn't see today that I put out, right? It'll be sort of a calming video, the one on my trip that I just did that nobody watched yet again. I did great. Yeah, I know. I mean, yes, it got 200 views, but there's more than 200 people that were watching. So happy and that's not the video.
If you're happy.
All right, here we go. All right,
we cannot wake up the morning after
I don't want
day
that one.
Wishing we had done more. The truth is a donation.
Jesus, what a pile of crap. All right, here we go. I'll take myself off the screen. Look how awesome this is. Now it works. This is what I wanted to play yesterday. This is me flying around with my Mavic Mini 4 with the virtual goggles. where you're basically a bird in the air. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Unbelievable.
we would try and take her on walks and she would refuse to go.
I got
It
an ad
was a
in my
chore
video.
to get her
Wow,
to
I
go
gotta watch
outside
it.
and even.
Can't believe I got an ad. Man, I never get ads. a mile, 1.25 miles out into the ocean. That was pretty funny. You know, you barely see the drone at that point. If you can see it, you have to use binoculars. Yeah, I've never been to Walport before. Really good crab fishing, everything. I'm confident in what when I'm flying is I don't feel nervous about it just dropping out of the sky. Those drones are amazing. DJI drones are great. Isn't that cool looking though? Yeah, my friends, they caught 27 Dungeness crab too. I ate 2 there and brought 2 home. It was because other people didn't want to eat them. There was 15 guys there. See, look at this is how far out I was. Look how far the shore is there. Look at that. Way over there. Tell you what, when you got those goggles on and you're flying around, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like you're literally flying around. Like you're a bird. Although you physically don't feel it, but your eyes, and you're the one controlling what it's doing. Like I'm actually sitting way over here in like one of these houses, or on a deck over here. I can't remember which one, but I think it's over here. Maybe. Yeah, right there, this one. I'm sitting on the deck of this house right there. And look, I'm following another seagull. Really close to the waves down here at one point. Kind of felt like I was riding in the waves like a surfer almost. Like look at that, look how cool that is. This is crazy. Yeah, it was a 2-hour and 40-minute drive. That'd be a cool painting. That's crazy. Look at that. So you don't really see these views very often. Aren't you from there, Pepper Potts? You know what they use for crab meat? Minks. That little tiny ferret-like animal. It's weird. Didn't know that. This is where we stayed in this one right here. That huge place. It's crazy. Now you can see me sitting in that chair right there. those are old redwood tree stumps. It's amazing. They're like hundreds and, I don't know, maybe 1,000 years ago or something.
World,
Well, gotta skip
the
to that
time
one,
has
too.
come to push the button.
Got ads popping up on there. Nice. That's right, switch music right then too. Oh yeah, that's where I think that's where they went. Yeah. Pretty easy to catch them there, I guess. I put in New Age music by the same person that does all the other music that I have. I wish everybody had one of these drums, you know. It's like a whole different world. But especially with the hand controller and the goggles. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's really intuitive too. You just put them on and you start flying, and you bank, and just really simple. See, look how big that house goes way back there too. Look. There's like a game room down there. That was crazy. I don't think it would do too well in a tidal wave. I feel like those are the people. It can go up to 5 miles, I think. You just have to have enough power to get back. I think it lasts like almost like 25, 26 minutes. The battery. Look, I'm flying with the seagulls. The guys that were on the trip I sent the video to, they were like, oh wow. I was like flying really low too, it's fun. Almost fall down. Man, right there in the chair. All right.
When you call 911 in crisis, we need to quickly send the right responder to your call.
Well, thanks for watching that. I thought that was pretty cool. I should do more. I mean, just for fun for myself. Some stuff like that. We have, like, I think it'd be cool to do it like up a stream or something, flying around. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, thank you for being here tonight for the extended flyby. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? So thanks for being here. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.